Coming up on the show, a family torn apart by detention and a son holding out hope. Find out how the son of an Atlanta-based journalist is hoping and praying that his father isn't deported from the United States. And it also turns out that stars and stripes don't always sway the shopping cart. We're going to show you why it's the price tag that may be calling more of the shots. And from murals to music, Fulton County is making a major move to back its arts. But it's not about the show. Wait until you hear the size of the investment. This is The Take. Let's get it. Hello and welcome. I'm Chesley McNeil, and this is The Take, where we go above and beyond the headlines and we look at the why and how stories are impacting you in your community. We invite the experts in to give their take on today's top stories, and we try to have just a little bit of fun as well. Well, let's get this one first. This is a fresh controversy today with new remarks from President Trump on autism. Yesterday, he was joined by his medical team to directly tie the condition to Tylenol, urging pregnant women to avoid the medication altogether. Now, medical experts are already warning that the claim is not backed by science and could put mothers and infants at risk if it leads to treatment for fever and pain. But the president is standing firm, delivering his stark warning about Tylenol and pregnancy.
Don't take it. You'll be uncomfortable. It won't be as easy, maybe, but don't take it. If you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol. And don't give it to the baby after the baby is born.
The president's comments are already igniting strong pushback from doctors and public health experts who say there's no clear scientific proof linking Tylenol to autism. They warn the bigger danger may be the discouraging pregnant women from treating fever or pain, both which can carry health risks for the mother and the baby. To break down what is fact and what is speculation and what's expecting families should know, we're joined by Dr. Danielle Fallon, who is the Dean of Public Health at Emory School of Public Health. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much.
All right, we had you on a couple of weeks ago. We were, talking about some of this making headlines, and now the announcement is made here. How surprised are you to hear this coming from the White House?
Well, given the preliminary hint at this, I wasn't surprised, but I am nonetheless disappointed. The evidence for acetaminophen in autism is mixed at best, and recent studies have not shown a link between acetaminophen use in pregnancy and autism. And as you already pointed out, we know that there's potential harm in removing or restricting that acetaminophen use.
Yeah, what does this moment tell us about keeping science and politics separate from public health communication?
I think it's really important that President Trump is not your doctor. And so speaking to your own healthcare provider while you're pregnant is the best thing you can do for you and your baby.
So what does the science actually say about the use of Tylenol in pregnancy and the risk of autism?
So I should say it's really important that we continue to shine a light on research in autism, and I welcome that aspect of this moment. But unfortunately, to make a recommendation about acetaminophen is just premature. The evidence right now is mixed.
Yeah, this has been going on for a while at least, so we've been hearing about a possible link. Is there a certain trimester that doctors are more cautious about the use of Tylenol than others?
For autism links, we do not see that there is a particular window where acetaminophen use would be harmful.
If a woman stops using Tylenol, what are the potential risks? We talked about it, but what are the potential risks that could occur?
Yeah, so we know that fever during pregnancy can be harmful for birth complications and for the development of the new child. And so we want to prevent or protect from fever as much as possible during pregnancy, and acetaminophen is the tool available during pregnancy for that purpose. Yeah.
Are there any other common medications or supplements that have stronger evidence concerning this about pregnant women?
If you mean, are there other medicines for fever during pregnancy? Unfortunately, no. If you mean, are there other medicines to ask questions about risk for autism? I think we can continue to ask and answer those questions, but so far there is no consistent evidence that there are medicines during pregnancy that are harmful to autism.
So what should new mothers or even pregnant mothers know about this particular alert that's going out?
That it's most important to talk to your obstetrician or care provider and work together using their advice about what is best for you and your baby.
Is that the one clear message that you would give families that are watching right now?
Absolutely. Please talk to your trusted care provider.
Yeah. This is obviously having a ripple effect, obviously, throughout communities everywhere. People wondering about autism and Tylenol in particular, but what about other medications that are out there? I hear you saying that you should consult your trusted healthcare provider, but there are over-the-counter drugs that maybe if you have a fever or if you start to feel some pain, you may go for. Is there something that they should not be buying other than Tylenol? That
well,
they may have a question about?
We know that acetaminophen is the best known and safest drug to be used during pregnancy for fever and pain. Mm-hmm. And so I would recommend speaking with your care provider about use of acetaminophen before you seek other kinds of pain relievers or fever relievers. And in fact, some of those may be much more harmful, and evidence has clearly shown that some other pain relievers and fever treatments are not safe during pregnancy.
How does the medical community turn this around, at least turn this message around?
I think we have to to continue to do our job to communicate directly with our communities that acetaminophen so far is safe for use in pregnancy.
Dr. Fallon, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate the message that you brought and the insight as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Our 7-day outlook today shows that we're going to see those temperatures really on the hot side today, looking at 90 for your afternoon high temperature. We'll have the sunshine in early. We'll get a few cumulus clouds that'll pop up overhead thanks to the daytime heating, but not going to take too much away from our sunshine. If we see any rain in the area today, it'll be mainly in our far North Georgia counties, those counties bordering Tennessee and North Carolina today. In fact, we have some thunderstorms up into Tennessee right now that are trying to make their way a little bit further down to the south. Rain comes tomorrow ahead of a front that's going to come in. I think much of the day will be dry on Wednesday, but then by the afternoon going into the evening, we'll start to see some showers popping up. Stays with us for Thursday and then Friday morning, but should be wrapping up by Friday afternoon. That's the way it looks for now, at least. And it'll set us up for a nice weekend. Temperatures back where they should be for this time of year. And we'll be clearing out, seeing some sunshine in the forecast area. So that will be mighty nice. We'll be waiting on that. Folks, don't go anywhere. We got much more for you coming up right after the break. All right, it's a live look at Truist Park right there, where the Braves will be taking on the Nats. They're on a 9-game winning streak. They win tonight. That's 10 games in a row. Only got a few games left. In fact, through the weekend, they'll be taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. So you can go out there and check out your Atlanta Braves wrap up another season. All right, take a look now inside the United Nations, where leaders from around the world are coming to New York City for the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly. This includes President Trump, who will be speaking to the group a little bit later on today. Joining us now is NBC Washington correspondent Alice Barr. And Alice, you have some breaking news on a plot uncovered by the Secret Service ahead of the assembly?
Yeah, NBC News has confirmed from 3 sources with the United States Secret Service and with the Department of Homeland Security that there was a plot to disrupt cell phone service at the UNGA, the United Nations General Assembly, and that investigators discovered 300 SIM servers and more than 100,000 SIM cards capable of carrying out, quote, nefarious telecommunication attacks, and that they're now working through every call, every text, every search made on those SIM cards to try to track exactly who's behind this plot. They also noted that there were 80 grams of cocaine recovered and some illegal firearms, computers, and cell phones. So this was a fairly large, it appears fairly extensive plot. Again, aimed really at disabling cell phone towers, denial of service attacks, that, blocking potentially EMS or police from responding to a scene if needed, and just really going through all kinds of steps to then be able to communicate through encrypted measures. Whoever was behind this could potentially have, this is a quote, they could text message the entire country within 12 minutes from anonymous numbers. So this was all in the area of the UNGA, within 35 miles of that assembly of all of these world leaders. And, remarkable that this was detected in time, and clearly still an investigation underway.
Yeah, much glad they caught that at least. All right, as we said, the president is expected to address the UN General Assembly today. Any idea on what his remarks will be today?
Right. So, and this is coming up actually very shortly. We're a little more than a half hour away from when he's set to address that body. And this is going to be the first time this term that he will be there at the United Nations General Assembly. And it comes at this really pivotal moment when a lot of world leaders are still kind of like sussing out their relationships with President Trump this term. And of course, there's just a full plate, particularly looking at foreign conflicts, to be addressed. And going along with that, there's the fact that now several key U.S. allies, top U.S. allies, the UK, France, Canada, Australia, have gone ahead and moved toward recognizing a Palestinian state formally. France organizing kind of an event to urge more people to get on board yesterday. And that's something that President Trump has sharply spoken against, that certainly another important U.S. ally, Israel, opposes. And President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have argued that recognizing a Palestinian state would reward Hamas. So that is a big issue to be addressed. There's also the question of Ukraine, and a lot of world leaders there are going to be watching how President Trump frames his stance today, whether he is more vocal in his support for Ukraine or, kind of references some of President Putin of Russia's talking points. We do know that President Trump is set to meet with Ukrainian President Zelensky. There's also the question of all of the aid the U.S. has pulled from organizations that benefit from that at the UN.
So, Alice, you mentioned the turbulent time, and he's going to be standing here speaking in front of these leaders. How high of stakes is his appearance before these world leaders?
Yeah, I mean, everybody is trying to, all these foreign leaders are trying to navigate their relationships. We didn't even mention trade. Trade has been a central kind of not just economic, but sort of foreign policy tool that President Trump has used, and that foreign leaders have tried to sort of adapt and sort of dance around, figuring out the best way to have a relationship with President Trump. So they're all watching closely. He will have the floor. You can guarantee that he will say exactly what he feels and what he wants to put out there about America's place in the world right now.
Yeah. All right, Alice, thanks so much for your insight. Really appreciate it. Folks, we got plenty more stories for you coming up. This is The Take, and we're back right after this. Welcome back to the show. An Atlanta-based journalist at the center of a national immigration fight could now be deported at any moment. An appeals panel reopened an old immigration case against Mario Guerrera, who was arrested while covering a protest back in June. Now, the Board of Immigration Appeals ordered him to be sent back to El Salvador, despite earlier misdemeanor charges being dropped and his ongoing bid for permanent residency. Advocate groups call for a retaliation against the reporter while his attorney is pushing the federal courts to intervene. Through it all, Mario's family is still holding hopes that he'll be able to stay right here in the United States. With us is Mario's son, Oscar. Oscar, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Give us the latest surrounding your father's condition and how he's holding up.
Last I talked to him, he's doing good actually. He's kind of accepted the fact that he might go back, but and he's obviously devastated about that. But in the end, it's better than him actually getting booted from the country and not being able to come back.
How was your family coping with the uncertainty that your dad could be sent away?
Obviously, we're devastated. I can speak for my family, and yeah, we're devastated. But like I said, there's that hope that if it comes to that, he'll be able to come back through me legally.
Yeah. When you see your dad out reporting, what goes through your mind knowing that he's taking risks to tell people's stories?
Well, I knew that I knew that this could happen at any moment. Like, he would tell us to be ready, but I never actually thought that it would happen.
Yeah, yeah. You have the possibility that he could be deported. What's the hardest part of this that you can imagine? What would be the hardest part of all of this?
Well, just our family being separated. And we've already gone more than 3 months without him in the house, and that in it of itself has affected my family a lot, and so I can't imagine him being away for 1-2 years.
Yeah.
You know.
Are you surprised that it's lasted this long?
Yes, definitely yes. Sorry. I'm convinced that the government has it against him, and I'm convinced that they're trying to teach a lesson.
So, what would you tell people here in Atlanta and across the country about understanding who your father is?
Well, first of all, he hasn't committed any crimes, and he's just a journalist doing his job, and more than a journalist, he's a father. He's a husband. He's my father, and I know that my father has never done anything against the law in this country in the 21 years that he's been here.
Yeah, yeah. What's your biggest hope for your father and your family in the coming days here?
Well, we're obviously hoping for a miracle and for him to be released. but at least me, I'm ready for anything at this point. At this point, I just want him free, whether it's here or in El Salvador. But I'm tired of him being locked up.
Yeah, understandable. Oscar Vera, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate your insight this morning, and thanks for joining us, my man.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Up next, we're going to get the latest on the consumer trends from our consumer expert. Stay right there. You don't want to miss it. All right, when it comes to shopping, the red, white, and blue might not matter as much as what's in your wallet. New surveys are showing price now beats patriotism at the checkout line. Let's welcome, as we always do every Tuesday, Atlanta-based consumer expert and friend of the show, Morgan Ward, back to the show. Good morning to you, Morgan.
Good morning.
All right, are we seeing a permanent shift here where the price is the only factor?
I don't know if it's a permanent shift, but people are much more likely to be looking for lower price than almost any other attribute. So for instance, people are interested in made in the USA, but that is being trumped by what's cheapest, because in uncertain economic times, that's people's priority. So that's the made in the USA is taking a backseat to something like a lower price.
Yeah, so if brand loyalty isn't the thing, you gotta go with the price. So if we see a shirt and it says made in the US and another shirt made somewhere else, but that price tag is lower, that's what we're going for.
Yeah, that's number one thing. And people really draw a lot of inferences about where something is made and how expensive it's going to be. So it doesn't not matter to people, but what matters is how expensive or cheaply they can get products, especially when we're being pressed financially in so many ways.
Okay. All right. We're also seeing a return to do-it-yourself repairs as more folks are fixing their own things. I find this hard to believe with our younger generation, but that's what we're finding, huh?
Yeah, so about a third of the states have right to repair laws, meaning that manufacturers are actually obligated to provide parts and directions for how to repair products. But, a lot of our products have gotten so sophisticated these days that it's hard to repair. You can't pop open your cell phone and fix whatever is going on. So a lot of repair is actually being outsourced. For instance, Best Buy is offering discounts on repair, and even things like Nokia and Apple have do-it-yourself, but the do-it-yourself is basically them walking through how you would do it yourself. So it's not the old way of doing it yourself, but people still are trying to repair products that are broken for financial reasons and also environmental reasons.
Are people drawn to that? If an item is more repairable, are we drawn to that more so than something that's not?
Yeah, so beyond it being convenient, it's actually becoming a product attribute that is listed in some cases. So, having this is repairable is appealing to people because they know that this might have a little more long-lasting lifetime for them.
Okay, all right. Something else you're tracking is that brands are dialing back the hype and leaning more toward familiarity, right? So how do, which is good for me, but how do you think nostalgic ads strike such a chord when we're in these economic times, these tough economic times?
Yeah, I think people are going back to nostalgia in so many ways, not only with, what we're watching on TV, but also all these advertising campaigns are going back to things we saw in the 90s or early 2000s, everything from Gap, bringing in Parker Posey, to McDonald's, the Tootsie Roll, Tootsie Pop Owl is coming back around. Pepsi is using its old branding. Burger King is using its old branding and reintroducing some products from the early 2000s. So across categories, brands are trying to lean back into what worked in the past, and consumers are resonating to that, because when you feel like the world is unsafe and unpredictable, oftentimes you want to go back to the past at a time that you felt safe and happy and like the world was actually a predictable place to live.
Yeah, I get it. We got about 25 seconds here. Do you think this is smart branding, or just, like you said, people just wanting to be in a happier time?
I think that it's smart branding because people want to be in a happier time. And so I think that we've seen backlash against brands that are trying to update, and that the ones that are really winning right now are the ones that are going back to where we were 10, 15, 20 years ago.
There you go. I say bring it back. Bring it all back. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Morgan. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, take care. All right, coming up on the show, we're going to talk to a Fulton County leader about the huge investment they're making in the county. But immediately after the break, we're going to talk about climate change and its impacts. Stay right there for this important information. Welcome back to the show. As hurricane season peaks, a leading health foundation is sounding the alarm, warning that climate change is fueling more deadly storms, floods, heat waves, even as federal cuts weaken the nation's ability to respond. With us now on the take is Dr. Alonzo Plow. He is the Chief Science Officer for the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. Welcome to the show.
Happy to be with you.
All right. He also is part of the nation's largest philanthropy dedicated to the solely in providing health and health equality in the United States. What makes this year's climate risk stand out more so than previous years?
Well, what's amplifying the risk actually is what you mentioned earlier, this change in federal policies that has reduced the ability of FEMA to respond, budget cuts from the administration to the weather monitoring service that has reduced the ability to put out emergency warnings in a variety of languages, and then the suppression of climate and health data that the administration has taken off the website that helps health departments and emergency responders know what to do and how to predict better the hurricanes. I'm very concerned, and we are very concerned about how those actions will make hurricane season and extreme weather events even more difficult for the local populations.
This has been a big time back and forth debate whether or not climate change is taking place, regardless of what side of it that you're on. We've been seeing stronger storms, hotter temperatures, and those kind of things. Why do you think people are not taking heed to it? Are we not putting it out there enough?
Well, from a side of just the facts and science, there's really only one side. Extreme climate change, global warming, is the cause of more extreme weather events, heat events. The data are very clear. The unfortunate thing is it's been made political, particularly by the current administration. And there's been a lot of bad information about this and taking away factual information that I think is really just harming the population. So it's really only one side to this if you're talking about science and facts. And if we're talking about coming off the hottest summer in record. And the real issue is that, and I'll spend time talking to folks in Atlanta, and heat is such an issue there, that it is particularly important that we recognize the relationship between climate change and heat, the disproportionate effect it has on communities of color and low-income populations, and that we provide the resources, federal resources, public health resources, in order to make sure that we can prevent and prepare and respond fairly.
So what does that look like? When we talk about climate preparedness, what does that look like in practice?
It means that cities are doing what they can. Let's think about heat. It's the effects are not inevitable. What can you do? One of the problems that happens between low-income areas and other areas is that cities haven't invested enough money in just tree cover. There can be sometimes a 20-degree difference in heat between more urban areas where the sidewalks amplify the heat, and more suburban areas where there's tree cover. There's things that can be done to make that sort of natural environment fairer. There are things that we can do to make those folks who live in low-income housing, federally subsidized housing, to make those houses more resistant to extreme heat. And there are things that we can do, I think, to prepare and protect people around the relationship between extreme heat, air pollution, and impacts like increasing the rates of asthma in kids. And unfortunately, lower income Black and brown communities, children have far more asthma than in other communities. So it's really awareness. Mm-hmm. It's doing the kind of things that can help to lessen the impact, and then having good information that connects communities together with first responders and government, so that there are plans and responses with heat, cooling centers. When I was a public health official, keeping libraries open, which often have air conditioning. Many of those things can make the impact of heat-related disasters less severe.
All right, Dr. Plow, thanks so much for your insight, and I'm going to try to help you get the word out, man, as much as possible. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care. All right, folks, Georgia's Rome looking pretty good. Got a slight breeze there going. Thanks for the breeze, because temperatures will be warming up today. Looking at temperatures close to the 90-degree mark for an afternoon high. We should be in the low 80s this time of year, so yeah, it's gonna be warmer than what we are used to. But it is September, so make sure you dress accordingly, folks, and enjoy the sunshine, because there are some changes coming our way. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. Fulton County is investing nearly $2 million into the arts, a move leaders say can boost the culture and support jobs and revitalize the communities. The move is about more than just putting on a play or show. It's about the role arts play in shaping a community. Here now is Marvin Arrington. He is a member of the Fulton County Board of Commissioners and one of the key backers of this funding. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Marvin, why do you feel it's so important to push for this new arts funding program right now?
Well, it's very important. We frankly should have given this money at the beginning of the year, and while I'm sad it took this long to get it, I'm happy that we have it now. Arts is a driver for our community. People are looking for quality of life, and the arts provides that quality of life. It supports small businesses. And one of the things that I truly love about the arts is it's a universal language, right? Whether you're Black or white or male or female, tall, small, the arts appeals to all. Yeah. And so I love the universality of the arts, and what it does for our community.
Yeah, some would say that the arts kind of come out anyway, whether it's in a poor community or a wealthy community. How does this funding strengthen Fulton County's identity as a cultural hub, as a cultural hub?
Well, so with this additional $1.7 million, we'll be able to affect 173 organizations. 173 arts organizations will get additional funding to be able to provide programming that may keep some of the doors open, right? We're seeing on the national level, we're seeing cuts to arts and NPR and all of everything. So it's important, it's even more important that Fulton County help and stand in the gap while we see all of these additional art cuts going around. Fulton County is the #1 giver or provider, financial provider for arts in the state of Georgia, and we're proud to be that, and hopefully we will continue that for the next 20 years.
Yeah, talk to me more about the economic development and the job growth here in Fulton County.
Well, you think about 173 organizations getting additional funding. So that means that 173 organizations will be able to employ people and full-time staff, part-time workers, people to perform at specific shows. So that feeds the economy. It feeds the small businesses. It feeds independent artists. And so that is a big driver for our economy. 173 organizations, you can imagine. One of the things I heard someone say is no one can help everyone, but everyone can help someone. And so imagine the work that those 173 organizations can provide to artists living and working throughout Atlanta and Fulton County.
We got about 1 minute left here. Talk to me how will residents know that the money is making an impact in their community?
Well, I think they'll see it on a daily basis. Again, we had organizations come in saying that they were about to close their doors because the funding was cut so short. And so this will be an opportunity for these organizations to be able to continue their work. And the great thing is that we made it recurring funding. So we will have $3 million recurring funding for arts organizations every year. And hopefully we can increase that as we go forward in the future.
So it'll be there for the next generation and next generation. Good stuff. All right. Marvin, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate that information.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
All right, folks. When we come back, we're going to catch up with CNN's Maribel Aber. She's going to bring us the latest on what's happening with AI right after the break. Welcome back to the show. The world leader in artificial intelligence computing isn't just powering AI, but now it's buying in. CNN's Maribel Aber joins us now from the NASDAQ market site in New York. Good morning to you, Maribel.
Good morning, Chesley. Yeah, I mean, they're buying in. Chipmaker Nvidia plans to invest up to $100 billion in OpenAI, linking two of the biggest names in artificial intelligence. The deal will involve two separate but linked transactions, and Nvidia could start delivering chips as soon as late 2026. Sources close to the deal say OpenAI will pay Nvidia cash for chips, while Nvidia buys non-controlling shares of OpenAI. Now, Nvidia did not respond to immediate requests for clarification of the deal. However, it's expected to finalize in the coming weeks, with the first phase deployed by mid-2026. And it all comes just days after Microsoft signed a non-binding agreement allowing OpenAI to leave its exclusive partnership for other chip customers. And it follows, Chesley, Nvidia's $5 billion investment into struggling chip maker Intel this month.
All right, so you know I like these fights, right, because it brings the price down on some of this stuff. But I'll be following this very, very closely. All right, talk to me about shrimp and Kroger. What's going on here?
More than 85,000 bags are being pulled from Kroger, Chesley, Kroger-owned stores nationwide this week. The products were flagged for potential radioactive contamination. The affected batches were sold under both the Kroger and Aquastar brand names. The FDA says the shrimp may have been contaminated with cesium-137 in unsanitary packing conditions. It's a contaminant commonly found in the environment, but repeated exposure can increase cancer risk. Customers are urged to throw the shrimp away or return it to Costco for a full refund. You can find full recall details, Chesley, on the FDA's website.
Sounds good. All right. So Spirit Airlines, also known as a cheap air flyer, but now they're grounding a third of their crew?
You know, the newest round of cuts, Chesley, is being announced at Spirit Airlines this month. The discount carrier says it will soon start trimming a third of its flight attendants, starting with voluntary furloughs. It says the airline's latest move to salvage operations after filing its second Chapter 11 bankruptcy just weeks ago. Now, roughly 1,800 flight attendants will be affected. The airline already cut its flight schedule by 25% last week and now aims to slash $100 million in annual pilot costs. Spirit reported a net loss of about $246 million in the second quarter of this year. Chesley had then borrowed the entire $275 million available from its revolving credit lender to stay in business for now.
Ooh, all right, we'll see. All right, we got the FTC taking Amazon to court. What's going on there?
Okay, the Federal Trade Commission's long-awaited trial against Amazon will begin. It stems from a 2023 lawsuit that accuses Amazon of manipulative business practices. The FTC claims Amazon deliberately used a confusing interface to trick millions into buying or renewing a Prime membership. Specifically, they say the company's software served as a labyrinth intended to distract or deter customers from completing their cancellation. An Amazon spokesperson tells CNN the online retail giant did nothing wrong and always puts customers first. The company didn't disclose how many U.S. subscribers it has, but a third-party consumer research firm estimates around 197 million as of March. The FTC did not respond to media requests about the trial when asked on Monday. But Chesley, you know what? It can be challenging canceling subscriptions in general. Like you're like in a weird loop and you just can't get out. Here's what I have to say. Search cancel in the help menu, use that live chat, or you know what? Dispute charges with your credit card and keep records.
Yes, I agree. I've been caught there a couple times. So good information there. Maribel, thanks so much for joining us and the insight that you gave. All right, cool. Thank you so much. All right, NBC Dateline is coming up on its 3,000th episode, and they're going to do it a little differently. We're going to talk about that coming up. Stay right there. Welcome back. Dateline NBC is stepping out of your living room and onto the stage, bringing in its first ever live special to Nashville this month. It's a milestone moment for the program, now marking 3,000 episodes, and it promises an inside look at the people, cases, and communities that have shaped its storytelling. Joining us now is Dateline's own and former 11Alive reporter, Blaine Alexander, and friend of mine as well. Hey, Blaine, good to see you.
Hi, Chesley. I'm so glad to see you, my dear. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Are you surprised that Dateline is closing in on 3,000 episodes?
I am not surprised at all. I mean, I think that, one, Dateline's an institution. And I think that anybody who's watched, anybody who is familiar with the brand knows that and has seen that over the years. But more than 30 years really is not something to kind of shake a stick at. It's really been incredible to watch the broadcast evolve. And to now be part of it is a very special time, especially as we close in on 3,000 episodes.
Yeah, Nashville is the backdrop for this first ever live event, right? So what makes Music City the right place for this milestone?
Well, this is going to be a lot of fun. This is something that Dateline has never done in all of our decades of being on the air, but we're going to take all of our correspondents, bring us to Nashville. And, Nashville really is kind of a place where, one, there are a lot of Dateline viewers. There are a lot of Dateline viewers across the country, but that's a good place for people to congregate. It's a great venue. This is a brand new venue. And so it's just a fun place to kind of be and really dive into kind of what I like to call the secret sauce that makes Dateline Dateline. So we're going to have, yes, I'm going to be there, Josh, Dennis, Keith, Andrea, and Lester Holt, who, of course, is going to be his first season since joining Dateline full time. So it's really going to be a chance for us to talk about some of our special cases, some of the investigators whose relentless pursuit brought people to justice, some of the families. Those are certainly kind of the heartbeat of our story. So talking about sitting down across from them and then just answering a lot of burning questions that people have about what we do.
Yeah. So this is live. So what can folks expect when they attend?
We're going to have a number of panels. So one, we have several kind of celebrity hosts, people who you will know from different shows, Annette O'Toole, Holly Robinson Pete, but they also happen to be Dateline fans in their own right. So it's going to be just a fun rapport talking with them about shows that they watch, just like everyone else who's out there watching and loves to watch us. So we will have some conversations behind the scenes, what it's like shooting some of our episodes. We're going to bring back some of the more memorable people from some of the stories that we've done, family members of perpetrators, for instance. We're going to, Josh and I are going to interview a couple of investigators who really have, when we looked back across the span of our stories, have been some of the ones whose dogged pursuit has stood out among other cases that we've covered. So we're going to talk to them. We're going to take audience questions. We're going to have a VIP reception at one point where people can actually meet us and talk to us. And then we're going to have several other experts just kind of talk about some of the information behind the stories that we tell.
Yeah. You know, true crime reporting can be a little bit heavy. What do you think keeps audience drawn to this?
I think it's a couple of things, and I've actually asked people this in recent days. One, I have to say personally, I've been a Dateline viewer longer than I've been a Dateline correspondent, right? So if I were to say personally, I'm fascinated by this kind of look into the human mind that we get by telling our stories. It never fails to amaze me that so many people think that murder is the best and an acceptable conclusion or solution, right? So this look into the human mind, I know that a lot of people like it because they enjoy kind of understanding how these things work, possibly looking at ways that they could stay safe themselves. So there's a lot of different reasons that draw people to want to watch our stories, and certainly hearing from the families and the people who were lost.
Yeah. So proud of you being a part of this. What does this mean for you, right? What does this moment represent for you personally, and what do you hope the fans take away from it?
I thank you, Uncle Chesley. I appreciate that. People don't know I call you Uncle Chess. I've been doing that for more than a decade now. You know, this is my first time really coming face to face with our Dateline viewers. I know that so many of our viewers are so loyal, really watch the cases. I mean, watch them to a granular level. I've had people in person kind of ask very specific details. A couple of people notice that I always carry a pen in my hand when I do interviews. I mean, people watch very closely. So I'm really looking forward to connecting with our viewers, especially as, you know, the newest kid on the block, if you will, the newest kid on the Dateline block. So I'm looking forward to that, answering questions, and then just getting to know them a little bit more. And of course, being with my fellow Dateline colleagues, because we're all over the country. We never get a chance to see each other and be in one place. So this is going to be the first time that all 6 of us are going to be together ever since I've joined the show. So we're looking forward to it.
Sounds good. Blaine, we're continuing to wish you some success. We're very proud of you. As I mentioned earlier, give your family my love as well.
I will do it. Thank you, Uncle Chess. Much love to you, my dear.
Take care. All right. The one day only event is happening this coming Sunday, September 28th in Nashville, and tickets are on sale right now. If you're interested in buying tickets or learning more about the show, head to DatelineNBC.com/event. All right, we're going to have another look at your forecast, plus my final take when we return. Don't go anywhere. Well, it's going to be a hot one today. We got temperatures getting up to around 90 degrees. Partly sunny skies will be the call for much of the day. 91 for your high temperature on Wednesday, and that's where the changes will come. We got a cold front that's going to be approaching the area. It will bring in a chance for showers. 40% chance for now for your Wednesday. That front will move through, by Thursday. Now, we got a 60% chance for the rain on Thursday. I think we'll see cloudy skies, of course, and that rain will be off and on through the day. Could get heavy as that front actually makes its way through. I think it lingers into Friday morning. But by Friday afternoon, should get out of the way. We're looking at 82 for the high temperature on Friday, and behind that front, we'll stay in those low 80s, where we should be for this time of year, Saturday and Sunday. And then a small threat for rain coming to us by early next week. By Monday, as a matter of fact, you're looking at partly sunny skies, a 20% chance, which means most of us will stay dry if that holds. Again, 82 is where we should be for this time of year, and that's where we'll be on Monday. Now, I'm not sure if you know this or not, but September is a great month, and it's also Take a Man on a Date month. Now, I must admit, I've never heard of this, but it's been gaining a lot of popularity since it began in 2014. Started as a concept back then on what was called Twitter, now X, right? And it's really taken off on other social media platforms. It's believed that it was started by men to get women to take them out on a date. Well, either way, I think it's a good thing, right? Not just because I want to be treated, because I do, but it's good for perspective. This could give men good insight on how to plan a date from a woman's point of view, right? Just to make the relationship a little bit better. So incentive, ladies, for you to take a man out on a date. Hey, listen, if you're thinking about doing so, you only got a week left to comply with this great month of September, which happens to be my birthday month. So a good opportunity also to take a man, myself, out on a date, you know? Let's get it done, folks. Sounds good to me. Tell me what you think. Go to our social media pages, let us know. Sound off. That's all we got for you today. Make it a great day and try to encourage someone or take a man out on a date. You know what I'm saying?